Goat catches Flack, midnight snack, laws that are whack. We got some news.
What's up, everyone? My name is Akshat.
And my name is Vineet. In this podcast, we'll provide you with some entertaining stories to lighten up your day.
So sit back, stand up, lay down, take a bow as we share some news.
Hey, Akshat, what's going on?
Yo, how's it going?
Going pretty well. I'm excited. I have some pretty cool stories I want to share with you, so I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this episode also. I think we've got some good stuff.
First story I have is, you remember we had a goat come in before who was arrested by the police for transforming and performing some black magic a while back?
Yeah. The black magic goat, like the Doctor Strange of goats. Remember?
Exactly. So, and that goat was arrested by the police officers, and I don't really know what happened after that. But I think goats are starting to go rampant.
Oh, man.
Because a while back, there was a goat that was arrested after walking into Tim Hortons, and he was absolutely refusing to leave. He just wanted to stay there. And I mean, I can understand to a certain point, because when we went to Canada, right? Tim Hortons was open all the time.
Yeah,
we can go to Tim Hortons. None of the other restaurants were open whenever we went to have dinner at even 7 o'clock, which was wild.
Well, to be fair, it was also snowing on half the days.
I mean, that's true, but you could have the restaurant open.
That is true.
Tim Hortons
that is true.
So this was actually around 4 a.m. The goat walked into Tim Hortons.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, it's I'm sure the goat went around many places, and it was you know what? This is the place. This is the place that's there for everyone.
This is the only place that's open.
Also in Canada, is this Canada? This is Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's Canada.
Okay. Well, a goat bunkered down at the Tim Hortons in Saskatchewan. So this was around 4 a.m. on a Sunday. The goat walked into the entrance, right through the automatic doors, and settled in for a nice little nap.
Settled in. I'm just imagining a goat coming in and sitting down in a booth. Just laying down. All right, this is a good spot here.
I was looking at the menu. I wonder what kind of food they have here. All right, so the police arrived, somehow got the animal into their cruiser.
Okay.
They commented he was very unhappy with how this went down. By he, I mean the goat was very unhappy with how this went down.
The cop is unhappy. The goat's fine. The goat's yeah, I'll come with you guys. Cop's just frustrated. What is this? What is my life?
Yeah, so the goat's pretty unhappy with this whole situation. I'm sure the cop's not thrilled either. What they did was they referred to arresting the animal, although the animal itself wasn't technically arrested with handcuffs or anything.
Okay.
But they took it into custody, put it in the back of their car, and they drove around all night, 4 a.m., keep in mind, drove around to farmhouses looking for the goat's owner.
Oh, wow.
At 4 a.m. in the morning.
How many farmhouses have to be in the area?
That's a good question. I am not familiar with the Saskatchewan area of
if it's
Canada.
Just 2, then it's okay. If it's not this one, it's the other one. But imagine it's 20, and you just have to keep driving from farmhouse to farmhouse. Yeah,
that would really suck. It says they did this for an hour or two.
Also, that's a very big waste of time. Imagine some actual crimes happening during that time.
But nope.
There's a robbery in progress at a bank, and they're no, we can't get there. We're just driving around this goat right now, trying to find the owner.
Yeah, the goat was very unhappy, trying to make sure he's okay. So they proceeded to visit the farms, do everything like that, and ultimately they're no, we can't handle this. So they took him to a veterinary hospital, and that's where it was held until the owner located it. So the good news is,
how did the owner know where the goat was?
I have no idea. I have zero clue. But I'm sure the owner went to nearby places oh, where's my goat? Have you seen my goat anywhere?
Or this is just a reoccurring thing where the goat always leaves, goes to Tim Hortons, ends back up at the vet, and then she's man, Steve's at it again. I just gotta go find him.
So it says here at the bottom of the article, the goat had actually escaped from the University of Saskatchewan rodeo.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know a university has a rodeo.
Well, apparently those are the things that happen in Saskatchewan.
This is not even like Texas or anything. This is like Canada. Why is Canada having rodeos?
I have no idea. But the point is, escaped from the rodeo. And yeah, I'm not sure if this is a general occurrence, but it happened hours earlier. Goat went to Tim Hortons, I don't know, for some rest, for some food. And then eventually he was found by the cops. And then eventually found by the owner. So that's the story of our arresting goats.
I also had the other question, because in the beginning you said like the goat did not want to leave, or like the goat was unhappy.
Yeah, the goat was unhappy, yeah.
Yeah, how did they know that? Like, the goat's not speaking. It's not saying like I don't want to go or anything like that. So how do they know the goat's unhappy or doesn't want to leave?
That's a good question. I mean, the cops walked in, and they do have a picture of the goat just kind of sitting there. Maybe I can share it with you, share it in the Instagram stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, the goat's just kind of sitting there looking at the police officer. It doesn't look like it's having a great time that the police is here now. So I guess from its facial expressions, they're like, maybe they tried to pull it out, and they're like, oh no, this goat just doesn't want to leave. It likes the spot. This is where it wants to stay.
The goat's like, I just came here for some coffee, and you called the cops on me, man. This is animalist.
I can just imagine like the goat just looking at like the restaurant owner or like the people that work there. I just came here for a coffee, and now you call the cops? Come on.
This is profiling. I'm just here for some coffee and some donuts, and you call the cops on me, man. Not cool.
Mm-mm. All right, so that was our goat story. I want to take it moving on now. We're going to stay in Canada, by the way. We're going to stay in Canada.
Okay.
But we're going to move on with the goat story because I feel like I just wanted to share that because I know we talked about goats in the past. At any time now I come up with a goat being arrested, I'm going to share
it. Goat Watch 2023.
All right. So this is the title of the article. Maple syrup heist. Quebec police arrest 3 over massive warehouse theft.
I'm sorry. That might be the most Canadian article I've ever heard. It's just maple syrup heist.
Maple syrup heist. It's what? See, I saw this article like, I have to do this. I have to talk about this.
Okay, continue.
So, there have been 3 arrests made in the case of a massive maple syrup heist. All right, and this was about 10 years back, but I just wanted to share it because I thought it was great. Okay. So 3 people have been detained in connection with the theft of a large quantity of the national condiment from a warehouse in Quebec. Right. So this isn't any wild.
Is maple syrup considered a condiment?
I think so. I think anything used to enhance flavor in food is considered a condiment. I would think. I feel like I've had this discussion with other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean like Nutella's a condiment?
I would say so, yeah. And I guess if our viewers want to reply back on that, they can. But I'm pretty sure a condiment is something that helps to enhance the flavor of food.
But then that's not necessarily true because like salt and pepper are not condiments.
Yeah, they are.
No, that's seasoning.
No, you can look it up. Salt and pepper are condiments.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like this is going to be a big debate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think.
Okay, just move on. We're not going to have this debate right now. We can do this offline, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Just saying, though, I just looked it up. Common condiments include salt, pepper, butter, ketchup, vinegar, and dried herbs. So spices can be condiments. All right, anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we don't have to accept it, but it's what I found. But these people are wild. They love their maple syrup. They stole 2.7 million kilos of maple syrup. Yeah. That's
okay. I was
insane.
expecting like a truckload or something. Not
Nope.
that millions.
It's $18 million in maple syrup was stolen.
Oh my! What are they doing with this?
I have no idea.
Were they like reselling it?
I don't know. We can continue with the article and see. But so I guess just to kind of put that into perspective, it says the stolen amount would have provided 1 tablespoon topping for 183 million flapjacks.
Oh my
That's
god!
how much
Okay.
maple syrup was stolen.
That is insane.
Yeah, like I don't know how you would get away with this. How you how would you go about stealing it? Because that's a lot to even carry for 3 people. 3 people did this.
Yeah, this has to be like multiple truckloads and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's actually insane. So the police say that they have recovered most of the missing syrup. They've also seized the vehicle suspected of being used in this maple syrup trafficking operation, and the equipment like scales and electronic lifts that they used as well. So, yeah, that's pretty wild. $18 million, and I think there are actually 2 articles relating to this. This one, the one I'm sharing with you, was from 2012 when the incident actually happened, and then 5 years later, there was actually a conviction on what happened.
How much did they get?
So, there were 3 men, right? Like I said, the one person who was their mastermind got 8 years in prison. They confiscated $606,000 from him and fined him $9.4 million.
Wow.
The other 2 people who were not the masterminds, they got 2 years minus 1 day.
Why the minus 1 day?
I don't know. But they were each sentenced with 2 years minus 1 day. That's what happens when you're Canadian. You get minus 1 day.
That makes no sense, but okay.
It also says they're required to pay $9,840 within 1 year, or they'll go to jail for an additional 6 months. While yes. While the main guy, the main mastermind behind this, must pay $1.3 million over 15 years, or be in prison for 5 more years.
Wow. Okay.
So don't steal maple syrup, especially don't steal any national condiment, especially in millions of kilos.
They didn't even say what they did with it, right? They didn't say what these guys were doing.
Let me check. I remember reading it somewhere before I went into this article. So they had recovered some of the They had recovered some of the maple syrup. They recovered 2/3 of the stolen maple syrup. And so it says, even though Quebec claims to produce 4/5 of the world's maple syrup, the missing barrels did not actually affect world prices. So Quebec, that's actually insane. They produce 4/5 of the world's maple syrup, and approximately 1/10 of that was stolen by these people.
That's a lot. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's an insane amount.
But they still didn't say what they did with it, right? They didn't say if they sold it or what they were doing.
I would think they sold it. I would think they were selling it because they said when they found a lot of the maple syrup, it had been watered down. I would think maybe they're getting the maple syrup, watering it down, and then selling it. I would think, but I have no idea.
Oh, so to sell even more bottles, basically.
I would think. I don't know what these guys' obsession is with maple syrup, but they went wild in taking this maple syrup and just doing whatever they wanted with it. I would think they were trying to sell it. That's what my best guess.
Well, yeah, that would make the most sense of why they stole so much.
What else would you do with maple syrup? What other purpose does it have?
They just had a lot of pancakes they wanted to get through.
Again, it's 183 million flapjacks.
They just got all these pancakes. Boys, we are set for life. We got
maple syrup on tap.
We got pancakes forever. We don't have to worry about our pancakes ever being dry.
Yeah, wild, absolutely wild. So yeah, that was the story. They were convicted, and they went through a lot. But I'm just wondering what went down in terms of their thought process of, you know what, we need money. We need to make money. Instead of stealing money, let's just steal a lot of maple syrup. It'll be more difficult to carry. Mm-hmm. People definitely notice a giant chunk of maple syrup missing from the stores.
Of course.
It'll be very difficult to hide. But man, we love maple syrup. Canadians love maple syrup. This is what we're going to steal. This is what we're going to sell.
Guys, this is our ticket to freedom. We are going to sell maple syrup to Canadians.
Very unfortunate.
I'm just imagining they're thinking like, man, we're gonna be like Ocean's 11 here. We're gonna pull off the heist of the century. And we're just gonna be rolling in that maple syrup dough.
So yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting story. Also, I guess if you want to go to prisons for less time, always go to Canada. You get -1 day.
Yeah. You save yourself at least that one day.
Okay, so now I have 2 more, I guess, little articles that I wanted to share. I couldn't find like a big topic, but I wanted to talk a little bit about a couple additional things that I found.
Mm-hmm.
So first thing, have you ever had a dream that has felt like super real?
For a second there, I thought you were just gonna be like Martin Luther King. Like, have you ever had a dream? I'll be like, yes. Yeah, I've had dreams that I think have been like super realistic. To the point where like, those dreams where like sometimes they're so realistic where like you feel like you're falling and then all of a sudden you wake up in real life.
Yep, exactly, yeah. So this lady had something very similar to that, but also not at all. Okay. So this article says the dream was something out of a spy thriller.
Okay.
29-year-old Jenna Howell of San Diego, California, was running from some shady characters on a high-speed train, and her fiancé told her to hide her engagement ring fast. So Jenna did what any normal person would do. She popped off the ring and swallowed it.
Yep, that makes sense.
Not hide it anywhere. She's just like, okay, you know what? We're being chased. Let me eat the ring.
Yeah, let's not put it in my purse, my shoe. Nah. First thought, just eat it.
So she suddenly woke up from the dream after eating this ring, and was relieved that it was just a dream, and then she dozed back off. Okay?
Oh, I thought she was gonna be like, I actually swallowed it in my sleep. I just ate it off my finger.
Well, the next morning she noticed that her left hand was bare.
Man, okay,
there was no ring on the hand. Okay,
I was just trying to be funny. I was not expecting this.
So after the trip to the ER and an X-ray to confirm, she actually swallowed her diamond ring in her sleep.
Man, how does that even happen?
I don't know.
How do you not notice that you have a ring in your mouth?
No, it's not. I wouldn't even say it's that. It's like either if you're sleeping with a ring or took it off before you went to sleep with it, you have to, like, if you're wearing it, you have to take it off and then pop it in your mouth and then swallow it.
Exactly. What I don't understand is if that happened, how did she not like choke and like wake herself up?
Yeah, like she was just completely fine with it. You woke up, oh, it was just a dream. Go back to sleep. But like subconsciously, she took off the ring, put it in her mouth, and downed it.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And literally with no issues. Mm-hmm. So now this just makes me curious. Like, what else has she been swallowing these like nights? Like, is she just also just like there's so much danger in their house that like any small thing you leave on their nightstand, it's gone. She's just been swallowing things left and right.
Like there are people who talk in their sleep, and people who walk in their sleep, but no, she snacks on tiny objects in her sleep.
It's like, yo, honey, have you seen my AirPods? I left them on your nightstand. They're like, oh no, not again. Let's go back to the doctor. Let's look in my stomach.
Oh man, so yeah, I thought that was a pretty funny story. So they went to the doctor, and the doctors fished it out via an endoscopy.
Oh, I thought they were just waiting for her to like poop it out.
No, they're like, no, we need this ring right now. We want to make sure it don't go down her.
Oh, that's true.
Tract, like, and then cut everything up.
Yeah, the diamond could like rip up the stuff.
And Howell praised the ring's designer for crafting jewelry that is so lovely that you can eat it.
I don't think that's a praise that people need. Just
I
my opinion. I don't think there's any ring maker out there who's saying like, man, people tell me that my rings are beautiful. They tell me that they're one of a kind. But to this day, no one's told me that they want to eat my ring. Like, that's just the one thing I'm waiting for.
Well, now this company could say that Their rings are on point. They can do that as well. Could look good enough to eat.
I just don't think that's a selling point, though, for people. I don't think people will be like, honey, what do you think about this ring? They're like, no, not this one. Oh, what about this one? No, not this. Well, what about this one? They say it's good enough to eat. Oh, man, I want that right now.
The one.
This is the one.
Ring for me.
That's the one I want.
The second quick story is something that I would like to be able to relate with, but I don't think I really can. So, like when you're a kid, or even now, like you saw like sports cars, you're like, oh, that's so cool. The coolest sports car. So what car did you want to drive when you were young? Let's say, I don't know, 8, 9 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old.
A Lamborghini.
A Lamborghini. This kid I'm about to talk to you about right now. Okay? He loved Lamborghinis.
Oh, man, my kind of kid.
He was a big fan of Lamborghinis. So what happened one day is there was a cop who was sitting near the highway, right? So you know how cops kind of perch on the side of the highway to kind of stop people who are speeding, and he saw this car kind of just flying past him, drifting across like many lanes and doing things like that. And he turned his lights on, went up behind the driver, and he expected to find like a severely impaired or a driver or someone going through a medical emergency.
Or just like a really reckless driver, like
yes, yeah,
like a 20-year-old or something.
Yeah. No offense to 20-year-olds. So he discovered a 5-year-old boy perched on the edge of a driver's seat, his feet barely reaching the pedals, and his head literally just clearing the dashboard, a very small amount. What would you do if you were the cop?
Wait, what car was this?
This was, I don't know what car. I think it was an SUV. I'm not sure which car exactly. But what would you do if you were a cop and you saw this?
Well, I'd be very worried. Like, where are this kid's parents? How did he get access to this car? And also, the first you got to do, obviously, is take the keys away from him. You can't risk him just driving off again. I'd just be very confused. Like, yo, where are your parents? How did you get this car? Like, why are you driving? Like, all these questions running through my head. Yep.
Good questions, all valid. So, also, one thing I was very confused about, how did the child know to stop?
Well, maybe like he knew, like, there's
cops.
Yeah, kids have enough exposure to know, like, if there's a cop, you got to stop or whatever.
Okay, fair enough. So, continuing with the story, the child had taken the keys to the family car while his teenage sister was napping at home. And he had driven 3 kilometers across town. I don't know why this, by the way, this is in Utah. I don't know why they do it in kilometers. But he drove across town before getting on the freeway. And once he's on the freeway, after he's been pulled over, he told the officers that he wanted to make it to California. Do you know why he wanted to go to California?
Disneyland?
To buy a Lamborghini.
Oh, what?
To buy a Lamborghini, obviously. What are you going to do?
That's the logical explanation. I just want to go to California to buy a Lamborghini. I'm 5. I don't have money, but I'm going to buy one.
Well, actually, here's where it gets even better. He had some money in his wallet.
All right, let me guess, like $6?
No. $3.
Oh, man. This guy.
He's
a high roller.
He came. I can imagine him getting ready for this. He's like, okay, I need to buy a Lamborghini. I need to wait for my sister to pass out, go take a nap. Then I'm going to steal the keys, going to get into the car. Oh, but I have to make sure I have my wallet and I have to put my $3 in there. I also have to get the right directions.
Don't forget the planning that went before this. Like, he's doing chores, trying to collect money from his parents. It's like $2. Man, just one more, I can buy a Lamborghini. I'm just waiting for that third sweet dollar.
Maybe he like saw the prices online and he saw like a 3 and maybe like M next to it, 3 million. Or, I don't know, something like that. And he's like, oh, wow, $3.
Yeah, 3 money. That makes sense. 3M, 3 money. I got 3 money.
But funnily enough, so he had $3 in his pocket, and he was actually going in the right direction. And that's what really impressed the state trooper who pulled him over. Is
Well,
that
I'm
he was
assuming
going,
the car might have like GPS.
That's true. But I mean, I don't think at 5 years old I would know how to operate a GPS. And
That's true.
I would still be very confused between my left and rights.
That's true.
But
I don't know. I think it's probably like a super tough concept to grasp.
yeah,
Like I
for
could
5
barely
years old.
like you could barely tell time on like an analog watch at
Mhm.
that age.
Yeah.
Let
yeah.
alone pay attention to a GPS.
Yeah, so this kid was a super genius who just did not know the concept of money. I think that's what it was. Everything else was planned out beautifully, except the money aspect.
Yeah. Because speeding, weaving in and out of traffic, attracting the attention of police—that's part of the plan.
Well, yeah, that was the first time driving. He wasn't sure. I'm sure he'll make a second attempt, and this time it'll be better. This time he'll go with the $6.
Oh, yeah. This time he's gonna have the 6M, 6 monies. I could buy 2 Lamborghinis.
All right, so those
man.
are pretty much all the stories that I had to share. So I think with that being said, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Fantastic little break we had going on there. We exchanged some good notes.
Yep.
And I want to pass it on over to you now to talk about our main stuff for today.
Thank you so much. You had some great, stories to share at the beginning. And I kind of went down a rabbit hole when thinking about like the main topic for today. So
Yeah.
I came across this one article, which in itself was kind of weird and, something that you don't really think of. But then from that, it led me to start thinking about other things. So you'll see what I mean. So the article that we're going to be talking about, the headline for that is "The Swedish government moves to get rid of permits needed for dancing."
Wait. The Swedish government
Mm-hmm.
moves to get rid of permits
Mm-hmm.
that are required for dancing.
That is correct. I'm just going to let you marinate on that.
You need a permit to dance in Sweden?
Yes. So I'll give some more background information. So I'll go into the article. So Sweden's center-right coalition government wants to cut the red tape when it comes to dancing by abolishing a decade-old requirement for restaurants, nightclubs, and other venues to obtain permits before they let patrons shimmy and sway.
Okay, I guess this makes a bit more sense, but also not really. So you're saying for a person to dance at like a pub there or some place, you need a permit.
The establishment needs a permit, yeah.
Yeah, the established that's wild.
Yeah, and also, does it really make sense? Because it's only a decade-old requirement. So we're in 2023. That means the time that this law came into play was 2013.
Yeah.
So it's not like from the 1970s. This is 2013. The Swedish government decided, guys, we have way too much dancing going on in clubs and stuff. Too many people are shaking loose. We need to set some boundaries. So unless your restaurant has a license, no hip movements. If I see a single hip movement, you are in trouble. It reminds me of that Key and Peele sketch of that football player who's doing the hip thrusts.
The football player doing the hip thrust. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Basically, it's like the football player who's doing like the 3 hip thrusts, and then if he does one more,
right. He gets like
the penalty,
a personal foul. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of just remind me of that because the Swedish government's like going around looking at restaurants, be like, "Do I see a hip shaking? Hey, you, no moving those hips. You can't be dancing. You don't got a permit." But basically, when they used to apply for a permit, it used to cost 700 kroner or roughly $67 for the establishment. As it is right now, owners can lose their liquor and business licenses if police officers come by and find out that a venue did not have the authorization to let patrons dance.
Wow.
Can you imagine, like, you have like a family business, it's like a restaurant or it's like, like a pub, and you just have this one dude in the corner just like, shaking his hips, dancing, and then the police come by and be like, "Do you have a license?" They're like, "No." They're like, "All right, bye. Say bye to your family. You're going to be on the street. You're going to be homeless." Why? Because this one dude decided he wanted to dance. This is like...
that is insane.
This is like Footloose.
There's no way. There's no way this is enforced.
I have no idea if it's enforced, but this is like Footloose, dude. This is where it's like a society that's like against dancing.
Yeah.
Then the Justice Minister
Wow.
commented, "It is not reasonable for the state to regulate people's dance."
I would agree with that.
By removing the requirement for a dance permit, we also reduce bureaucracy and cost for entrepreneurs and others who organize dances.
You know what? Here's what I think would happen. This is what I think that went down. This one guy, he was having a rough day. He went to the bar, and he sees like a hot girl dancing. He's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm having a rough day. I'm gonna go ask to join to dance." He goes up to her like, "Oh, can I?" He starts dancing. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're having a good time." And then she notices him. She's like, "Oh, don't dance with me," and he gets super pissed.
Yeah,
so
he just happened to be like a government official.
Yeah. He's like, "You know what? You think you should dance and I can't dance with you? I'm gonna make a law.
Nobody can.
You
dance.
need a permit. If I can't dance, no one can dance."
You want to dance now? You better hope that this club paid the $67 needed for you to dance.
Why else would someone ban dancing?
So the law it's not in effect yet. It goes into effect July 1st. It still requires parliamentary approval. I'm hoping that people are like, no brainer that approve this. Why are we controlling dancing? But basically based on this article, which was published just like 3 days ago. So this is like recent news. Yeah. Based on this, I started thinking like, what else are like some other weird laws that are, around the world taking place? Okay. And, I found a list of like the top 50, 50 or 60 weird laws. We're not going to go through all of them, obviously. But I did want to cover some of the fun and unique ones that I saw on this list. Okay. So right off the bat, the first one is it's illegal to chew gum in Singapore.
I think I've actually heard that before. That was illegal to chew gum in Singapore. I don't know why.
So they do give the reason. So they said vandals used chewing gum in the past to mess with the mass rapid transit system, and the Housing and Development Board spent $150,000 a year to clean gum litter.
Wow.
So because of that, they banned all gum substances in 1992, except for nicotine gum and dental gums that offer therapeutic value.
Okay, so now the gum is banned there. Does that mean they just don't sell the gum at all anywhere?
You can't sell it, and you also can't chew it.
Okay, yeah, because I think you had said like chewing gum is illegal, but yeah, I guess I didn't know that you can just not sell it. So I'm curious. So if you you said Singapore, right?
Yeah, Singapore.
So if I went to Singapore, chewing gum in my mouth, and like to get off the plane.
Yeah,
can I be arrested?
You wouldn't get arrested. I think it's just probably you get a fine.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, it's not that ridiculous where like you're getting thrown in jail, but you will get a fine if you do that. The other one that I saw, it's illegal to hike naked in Switzerland.
Yeah, this sounds like when people do stupid things, and then they're like rules made because of those things. Someone has had a traumatic experience by seeing a naked person hiking, and they're like, no.
So the story behind this is, after Swiss and German travelers decided to make naked hiking a thing in Switzerland a decade ago, Swiss officials reminded folks that a public indecency law still exists, and you can't do this.
Wow. Unreal.
Yeah. So in 2011, a Swiss man was fined more than $100 for his bare-bottomed walk. Here's another ridiculous one. Are you aware of Winnie the Pooh?
I am. He's a big bear.
It's a lovable Disney character.
I would say so.
You can't wear a Winnie the Pooh shirt in Poland.
What? Why not?
Because he does not wear pants. Because of that,
what?
Poland issued a ban on Winnie the Pooh around playgrounds and schools, saying that the main character is a little bit too risque for children.
Honestly, I can see the world going in this direction. I mean, at that point, you have to take Squidward. Squidward doesn't wear pants.
Oh yeah,
You have to take Squidward out of
Donald
SpongeBob.
Donald Duck.
Can't
do that.
Does Mickey Mouse does wear the pants?
Yeah, he doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Tom and Jerry are just completely naked. If we want to go down that route.
Jeez, man. Wow. It's funny how it's specifically Winnie the Pooh. It's like they don't know any other characters. Winnie the Pooh is banned.
Yeah, but just can't do Winnie the Pooh. Here's another one. It's illegal to ride a cow while drunk in Scotland.
Okay. So clearly it's legal to be drunk. It's legal to ride a cow, but it's illegal to ride a cow while drunk.
Yep. So you want to ride a cow while you're sober? Go for it. No problems. But while you're drunk, can't do it.
That's where you draw the line. It's like drinking and driving. You can't drink and drive.
Don't drink and cow. It's an old law too. This is from 1872. So I'm just trying to figure out like what crazy stuff was happening in 1872 in Scotland, where like so many people were drunk off like whiskey, and they're just like crashing their cows into like other people. They're just going crazy. I
can imagine there was like some wild party somewhere on someone's farmhouse. They're like, you know what? Let's ride the cows. And they like rode the cows into town, and they went wild.
It's just like damaging property, knocking over like carts. They're like, that's it. No more drunk cow driving.
Well, I mean, I guess this kind of leaves the door open for like riding, I don't know, donkeys, or I guess horse riding is pretty normal, or like pigs.
I'm assuming other animals are also like part of this law. I would assume they're also saying like you can't drunk ride a horse or things like that.
But a cows were the biggest deal, obviously.
Yeah. That was the biggest problem. That was the biggest problem. This next one is here in the U.S. Registering as married at a hotel makes it so in North Carolina.
Okay, well, what do you mean registering as married at a hotel?
So basically, if you go to a hotel in North Carolina, whether it's like you and like a friend who happens to be a girl, or you and like a girlfriend or whatever, you go to that hotel.
But what if I'm gay?
Well, that still doesn't matter, like a guy or whatever. This rule really pertains to men and women, but it's North Carolina, so it's kind of concerned.
What if I'm non-binary?
But just the gist of it is basically if a man and a woman go to a hotel in North Carolina, and they pretend they're like husband and wife to get the room or whatever.
Wait, so you can't even get a room?
No, you can get a room.
Okay.
But if you happen to give like the insinuation that you're together
married, okay,
then basically by outwardly portraying yourself as husband and wife, and renting that hotel room, it becomes legally bound.
Wow. Now, okay. So if you recall a while back, right? So like gay marriage was not allowed in many places, in like many states, but it was legal in some states. So does that mean? And I think the way that it worked is if you're like, I don't know, legally married in California, and then let's say, I don't know, I can't think of any states. Ohio's like, no, you're not. There's no gay marriage. Does that mean you're not married? I think the thing was that you're not married in Ohio, but you're married in California. Would that be the same thing in this case?
That's a very good question, to which I do not have an answer. But apparently, in the state of North Carolina, you would legally be married.
That's pretty wild.
The next two laws kind of relate to each other. So, for example, you know how in India, in every January, we have like a kite flying festival, at least in my home state of Gujarat.
No.
Yeah, it's not for you. It's only for us.
It's not for you. You can't go.
Basically, it's in my home state. We have a kite flying festival that happens in basically mid-January. Thousands of people are flying kites, and it's basically like kite fighting, where you're trying to cut down somebody else's kite with yours and stuff like that. So basically, this is related to kites. It wouldn't fly in these other places. In Victoria, Australia, it is illegal to fly a kite if it bothers another person.
It's only if it bothers another person. But you can fly it if no one's bothered, you can fly it. But if one person is like, oh, you know what? That kite is blocking my view of that one single cloud.
Yep.
I'm annoyed. Yep. I need to get out of here.
Yep. In fact, you can't even play a game in a public place if it annoys someone else.
Wow.
So like that, for any Karens that are listening, that's probably like your ideal place to go. That's like your paradise.
Where is this?
It's in Australia, in Victoria.
Australia.
In Victoria, yeah, Victoria.
Wow.
So that's where basically Melbourne is.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess a good thing that could come out of this, you can go there to study. I don't know.
That's the takeaway. If you're not flying kites, you're studying. There's nothing else you're doing.
Yeah.
In life, you're either studying or you're flying a kite.
I mean,
nothing else.
If you can say, I feel like it would literally pertain to anything at that point. You're like, you know what? That guy is slurping his noodles too loud. Don't do that. It's bothering me. That's how I feel like this law could be applied.
And then related to that, it's also illegal to fly a kite in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Just generally illegal to fly.
Yeah, you just can't fly a kite. It's just, you can't do it.
Well, I mean, I'm not a huge kite flyer, so it doesn't impact me too much.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I guess that's upsetting to the kite flyers out in Argentina, in Buenos Aires.
Here's another one. It's kind of related to the Swedish story. It's illegal to dance in the dark after midnight in Japan.
Dance in the dark after well, okay. Now, dancing in the dark, does that mean the light can be on after midnight and then you could dance in the dark, or like then you could dance?
Yeah. You can dance after midnight as long as it's not in the dark.
Wow, interesting. I mean, I guess people were having safety issues with people constantly tripping or falling.
Well, no,
dancing in the dark.
No. You would think that's the reason why they did it.
Okay,
but actually, it was this law came into effect in 1948 while U.S. soldiers occupied Japan. The ban was placed to stop liberal Americans from corrupting the good citizens of Japan.
Honestly, you said when was this? 1948?
Yeah. So it's like right after World War II, basically.
Yeah, so they had just been bombed by us. I feel like I understand.
They got bombed, and then you want to gyrate those hips? That's not happening.
I mean, think about it. Someone like came into your house, they like ruined everything, blew things up, I don't know, set things on fire, and they come back
just
and they start dancing in the dark. I would be quite upset.
And after midnight. Up until midnight, dance all you want in the dark. But once that clock strikes 12, you gotta stop that nonsense.
I'm just thinking how upset I would be. If first of all, I would not even let these people back into my house.
No, but the funny thing is, this guy, he bombed your house. He's in your house. He's dancing in the dark. But it's 10 p.m. You're like, oh, it's fine. It's whatever. He has the right. He bombed it. He's here. But as soon as it hits 12, you're like, nah. You gotta stop that.
Not in my house.
Not after midnight.
That's so random.
Here's another one. In a certain part of France, you cannot die without having a pre-purchased burial plot.
In France?
Yeah, it's in a town in France.
But what happens if I just die then by accident or something?
I have no idea. But the funny part is, so basically, you cannot die within city limits unless you already have your burial plot purchased. But the funniest part is, the mayor said, this is in 2008, by the way. This is not like a long time ago. The mayor said, offenders will be severely punished.
What are they going to do?
Exactly. How do you punish someone who's dead?
Like, I'm already dead. What can you possibly do?
It's like you're dead. It's like, man, we're going to bring you back to life, and then we're going to punish you. We're going to
put all our time, resources, money, doctors. We're going to bring you back.
We're going to figure out a way to bring you back just so we can punish you.
Is there a reason behind why this was put in place, or no?
They said it was because of it's a very small town, and the population's kind of increasing. So to fight overpopulation and having like issues of like not having enough spaces for everybody, they want to make sure that people already have their spaces purchased.
I don't know if that's a solution.
Neither do I. But yeah, it's just weird. It just doesn't make sense.
I concur.
Speaking of things that don't make sense and related to dying, it is illegal to reincarnate without permission in China.
Okay, well, I mean, oh, I don't even know.
So, Tibetan Buddhist monks are not allowed to reincarnate after they die unless they have been granted permission from the government. I have no idea how you enforce this.
Yeah, I don't either. Okay, also, I have a lot of questions that kind of come off of this. Question number 1. Now, this is only saying you cannot reincarnate in China. But now, what if I don't live in China, I lived in Australia, and I died? And then I reincarnated in China. Does that law only apply to Chinese citizens?
No. This is like if you're a monk in China and you're about to die, you're not allowed to reincarnate without asking for permission.
So this only applies to monks in China.
Yeah. Like if you're a monk in China, you can't reincarnate without asking for permission first.
But anyone else can.
Yeah. But I don't know how you enforce this.
Listen, I don't know what kind of stuff went down, and they're like, the monks are constantly reincarnating right here.
Man, this guy's back. Every time he dies, we think we got rid of him, and then he's back.
Yeah, I'm wondering, does this say why?
It doesn't. It doesn't say why. I have no idea why they did this. It makes no sense to me. But
at least other laws tried to have some kind of backing, even though it didn't really apply that much. But this one, it's just, you know what? We don't like monks. Just don't reincarnate here.
And then this last one that I'm going to cover, just to wrap everything up, is because it's probably very ridiculous. So, you've heard that joke, like, why did the chicken cross the road?
Yes. Too many times.
Well, the reason it did so is because it lived in a place where it's not illegal to do so. Because if it's illegal for your chicken to cross the road in a town in Georgia.
Like the United States, Georgia.
Yeah.
My chicken just can't cross the road.
Nope.
What if it needs to get to the other side?
You got to pick it up and take it. It can't do it on its own. If your chicken crosses the road on its own, so help me God, we will fine you if that happens.
Yeah, that's some wild stuff. Maybe there's a problem with like chicken crossings. Too many chickens were crossing the road.
It just makes no sense.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe the people in Georgia, they just see a lot of chickens there all the time. And they're like, you know what? There are too many chickens.
Maybe it's causing like accidents.
Possibly.
Like cars, like they had to stop all of a sudden because like a chicken ran across or whatever. And because of that, they're like, yeah, you can't do this.
Well, maybe they should just make the law that there should be no chickens roaming outside of their home.
Yeah,
but they had to specify crossing the street.
No, they said crossing. That can't happen.
Yeah, but they can be around the road. They can be looking across the road, talking to their friends, but they can't cross.
Now, I know that I said that would be the last one, but I just came across one that's like even more ridiculous that I just have to share it.
Okay.
This is the last one, I swear. In Idaho, it is illegal to eat a person.
Well, I guess that's good.
like this should be something that's like, no shit. You can't do this. You can't commit cannibalism.
I actually think cannibalism is legal.
It is. So,
as long as it's consensual.
Well, I don't know about that, but basically in Idaho, cannibalism is allowed under life-threatening conditions, but you can't do it and for any other reason.
Just you can't be like willy-nilly about it. Just take a bite out of someone on the street.
Exactly.
You gotta wait. You gotta put yourself in a position with that person.
Yeah.
So that it's just a life-threatening situation.
Yeah.
And
so you basically got to go on a hike, get lost in the woods to the point where you're almost dead.
Yeah.
And then have at it.
Imagine playing like the long-term game with someone like this. I mean, like, you know what? That guy looks nice and juicy. We're gonna become friends. We're gonna go on like morning hikes together. Our kids are gonna get to know each other. We're gonna be the best of friends. And then one day, I'm gonna take them. all the way to like, I don't know, the Grand Canyon.
And we're gonna get
And then
lost on purpose,
Yeah.
just so I can eat them.
Wow.
All right, this last one, I promise.
I've been lied to twice.
I know, but it's getting more ridiculous as I scroll down this list.
Okay, what do
In
you got?
the UK, it is illegal to handle salmon suspiciously.
What?
You can't. It is illegal to handle salmon in a suspicious way due to the Salmon Act of 1986.
I wonder what was happening in 1986. People were walking around with salmon and just being like, oh, they're keeping it close to the chest, looking around.
Just having weird faces. Like just smiling in public while holding a dead fish. And just be like,
Wow.
oh, I won't tell what's this for. I don't know. I won't tell you why I'm doing this.
This is mine. You'll never know.
And the funny part is they don't explain what suspicious means.
I guess if someone sees you with salmon and they feel like you're a shady character, that's it. It's game over.
Yeah. But it's just you can't be suspicious with it.
That was my plan actually, to go to UK, just get some salmon and walk around like looking like I'm doing some weird activities.
You basically just can't have that fish in your hand and smiling while you're like on a bus. You can't do that. There goes your plans.
Oh,
But yeah, so those are just some of the ridiculous laws that I had to share with you. Like I said, I started off with that Swedish law about dancing, and just kind of went down the rabbit hole of all these other ridiculous laws from around the world.
well, I've definitely learned quite a lot. I know I can't be a cannibal in
Idaho.
You say Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't just take a hotel room in insinuation that I'm getting married with someone.
No, that you are married, like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Where was this? You said North Carolina?
Yeah, North Carolina.
Okay, well that's good. Good to know that as well.
Don't let your chicken cross the road in Georgia.
Yes, of course. I got to keep my chickens close.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I learned quite a lot.
Yeah,
And
when
obviously,
you go to the UK, don't keep your fish close.
yeah, I think honestly the most important one, because I know I love turning up after midnight when it gets dark, is to not do it in Japan.
Yeah, you can do it if there's a light. If there's a light in the room, feel free, turn up. As soon as the lights turn off, those hips better stop. So guys, this has been a very fun episode. We learned some do's and don'ts of, what you can and cannot do in some countries, including our home country here of the US of A. We also learned that Canadians love maple syrup to a somewhat illegal extent. And of course, like everyone else, goats also love Tim Hortons and are pissed when you try to kick them out of it. So this has been Someday, Sometime, with some news. See you soon.